What is up, you wonderful people? It is I, Nima, and today I have a job for you. Down below in the comment section, please tell me your favorite RPG or RPGs, I'm fine with multiple, and explain to me what you define as an RPG. You don't have to do the second part, but I would appreciate it because this whole list has really opened up a rabbit hole that has been debated very feverishly, and so it's an interesting conversation. If you like video game content and videos almost every day, please think about hitting that like and subscribe button. It means a lot to me and helps the community grow. So first up, I want to say that this list is a requested list, and it is not in any way, shape, or form in any sort of order, because for me to do that, this would have taken forever to do this video. But so starting out, I want to throw out a game that I've only played about 15 or 20 hours of, and I'm nowhere near the end of it, but honestly, I think that this game could be number one on the list by the time I'm done playing it. And of course, I'm talking about Xenoblade Chronicles 3. This game is everything everyone says it is. There is one big problem with the game, and that is I've had a couple crashes. And I understand, like, stability patches are pretty easy to get, fixed and everything, and I'm sure it will. I'm sure it'll be fine and run completely sound. That is the only issue I have with this game. Everything else about it, I'm talking combat, characters, story, graphics, the soundtrack is really, really good. And it's awesome that you can combine your powers and kind of become like a Power Ranger, if you will. It's a really great game, though. I absolutely have fallen in love with it. It is so amazingly fun. So the next game on the list is a game that, another one that I'm going to say that this one comes out of more respect for the game than me actually playing it. I've played probably 30 or 40 hours of it, and I still haven't gotten that far into it, and that is Divinity Original Sin 2. I think this game has to be on the list because this is the quintessential, PC RPG experience on the Nintendo Switch. This game is incredibly adept, very, very intricate, and has a pretty steep learning curve, but the payoff is worth it, and this is just incredibly creative, fun game to play. Next on the list is probably the best RPG on the Nintendo Switch right now, and that would be Dragon Quest XI. Now, like I said, I think Xenoblade Chronicles 3 will end up beating it, but right now, you still have to give it to Dragon Quest XI, as this game is so fun, the story is amazing, there's just so much content to it as well, not to mention just the characters. You can get so lost up in what is happening with the characters and their stories, as well as the bigger picture. This is just a classic JRPG, has all those elements that we love, has the great graphics, which I think it really does translate from the PS4. There really isn't much of a drop off, as well as just the classic ability to have equipment, to level up characters, and it all comes in that turn-based RPG action that we all love. Now, next on the list is arguably my favorite game, and that is Shin Megami Tensei 5. This game is a grind-a-thon, but in the best kind of way. Ultimately, there isn't a whole lot of story. There is a story there, right? But it's not really the main aspect of this game. As this sort of grindy, difficult RPG / Pokemon mechanics go in, still with that turn-based combat, still with the ability to level up, not as big on things like equipment, but they do help, and it is part of the game. But for this game, it's just more about your ability to strategize and master the combat system, because this game does not hold back on anything. And so next on the list is a game that I'm putting here because I would say the master of RPGs, my friend Trotty, and he absolutely loves the series, and he's got me into the series as well. That's the Trails of Cold Steel 3. I say 3 because that's the one on the Switch, but you do really want to play the other games in the series. It's really cool because I like it has a small kind of school environment to it, as well as this small little town that you're able to explore. There's a lot of interpersonal relationships that you build, and the combat in general is really fun too. Now, this is another one of those grindy games, and a game that can get really difficult, but also has really big numbers in it, and so it's pretty exciting when you start really dealing a lot of damage. But it's a great series, and I really would advise anyone to check it out. And so next on the list is a game that I really didn't see coming, and had never even heard of it, but I played it recently, and it has just been amazing. It's been one of those RPGs I've been waiting for a very long time, and that is Celeste Tails. This game basically is ripped out of classic RPGs mixed with Game of Thrones storytelling, and that's something I absolutely adore, and I didn't know just how much I still wanted to play that kind of game. It's fantastic, and for the price is also really great, because on the Nintendo Switch, you get both games, plus you get other DLC as well, and I believe it comes in at around $20, and it's completely worth it. There's so much content, so much enjoyment. Like, I absolutely love it, and I think they do it right, because this is one of those games where you play it kind of like 10 to 15 hour chunks, so by the time you start to get tired of the story, it's over, at least that part of it, and there's more to explore after that. So next is another game that I think it works perfect on the Nintendo Switch, and that's why it's here, and that is Final Fantasy XII. I love the Final Fantasy series, and honestly, 12 is probably not my top, but it's up there, and I think it really exemplifies why the Switch is what the Switch is. And why I say that is because so many people missed Final Fantasy XII, and now after getting used to the kind of combat system that they use, that auto attack system, as well as the more deeper political meanings in the game, I think a lot of people would now really enjoy the game. And also, they cleaned up the graphics a little bit. It looks better, plays a little bit better, but it's definitely, for me, a must if you're an RPG fan and you haven't played it before. So be it that 3 to 4 of the games on this list came out this year, just tells you how good this year has been for RPGs. And needless to say, another entry in this list did come out this year, and that is Triangle Strategy. This game is so amazing, especially if you're into that kind of style of tactic games. And I am. I love the tactic games. Not only that, but I love the story. It's very deep, and I understand if some people wouldn't put this on their list, because there is a lot of story. There's a lot of reading. There's a lot of just kind of intricate, complex storylines that some people may not be interested in, but I do think if you're an RPG fan, typically you are kind of drawn into those kind of games. But I absolutely love Triangle Strategy. It's a game that I've actually played twice, and it's got like a 60-70 hour campaign, so for me to play it twice just speaks volumes for how good it is. Now, next on the list, again, another game that came out this year, and that is Live Alive. I think this is done so immensely well, and the reason why it's on this list is because this is a Nintendo Switch list, and this game would have not existed in at least my world without the Nintendo Switch. If they did not bring this game back and that 2D HD graphics and revamped for a modern audience, I would have no idea this game ever existed. And I think a lot of people are in that same realm, and just the creativity, the way they went about storytelling, the way they went about doing this back in like 92 on the Super Falcrum is insane. Like, there's so many games that can't hold a candle to the creativity of Live Alive, and that was 30 years ago. And so I absolutely enjoy this game. Really, really good game. Everyone should check it out. And last but certainly not least, the classic Nintendo game, Fire Emblem Three Houses. It's got to be on the list, right, guys? Like, how could you not have Fire Emblem on this list? It is one of the, quintessential RPGs, and especially with that Nintendo label, it was made for the Switch. It runs perfectly on the Switch. The characters, the customizations, the interpersonal relationships, the tactic style battles, all of that stuff I absolutely love about this game. This is one of those games that no matter what Fire Emblem releases, I end up really enjoying it. I would like to see a Shining Force kind of become another one of those staples. But anyway, that's my list for now. I'm sure I've forgotten at least a half a dozen, if not more, RPGs. I do plan on also doing another list next week of action-adventure games, because one of the big conversations that we had while determining what would go on this list was games like Eastward, Nobody Saves the World, even like Cult of the Lamb. Like, all of these games technically are kind of RPGs, but then again, if you have Eastward, then you have to have Zelda. Well, if Zelda's an RPG, then it just opens the door for so many other things to get in there, and games like Divinity Original Sin or even Trails of Cold Steel probably wouldn't make that list, because, let's be honest, they're not going to beat out Zelda or Hollow Knight or Hades, or, I mean, you really can just see how deep of a hole that keeps going in if you let that happen. And so this is just kind of my offshoot ideas. I'm sure so many of you guys are going to put games in the comments that I'm going to go, oh yeah, I forgot about that. I also tried to put as many indie games in as I could, but it's honestly, it's difficult when they're up against the bigger AAA titles. And potentially, if you guys are interested, I'll do an indie RPG game list. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you for sticking through. I know this one's a little bit long. I really, really would appreciate all of your comments, because I'm curious what RPGs you guys have, which ones I forgot. And like always, I'm wishing you health, wealth, and above all, I really hope you guys are happy, because you guys make me happy. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.